going to share my screen with you.
Okay.
And,
Should I be taking notes?
yeah. You know, treat this just as you would if you were actually showing up to school and doing classes in person. Give me just 1 second, please. All right, sorry, my son's upstairs playing in his room, so wanted to get him to shut the door to, I don't know if you can hear that, but I can. Okay, vamos a comenzar, Reed. So this is lesson number 1 of our first level. In this level, we're really preparing you to start having very basic conversations at work in your community as well as while you're traveling. And the idea is that after 3 months, most students do this once a week with me, and it takes about 3 months to get through it. You'll be conversational, you know, not 100% fluent, but you would be able to start introducing yourself to people and making small talk to make friends with them. As well as, you know, if you get on a plane and head down to Mexico or Costa Rica or something like that, be able to order food comfortably at restaurants and go shopping, you know, making simple purchases.
Which I do often go to those places.
Okay, cool.
Which is the reason why I want to learn Spanish. So I go to Mexico and Costa Rica.
Oh, really? Both of those places? Nice. Maybe I can't remember if you told me that or not, but that's awesome. Yeah.
That's my main reason for wanting to learn. So I've been going there for so many years. I've established a lot of friends down there.
Okay.
The same places all the time.
Okay.
And, you know, they all speak English, so they tolerate me not speaking Spanish, but they're like, dude, you have to learn Spanish. It'll
only help. Imagine if you've been going down there and you really like it and you're having a lot of fun, how much more fun you'll be having once you can actually start speaking the language with people. I mean, it's as someone that's gone through the process and done it, you know, I've traveled in Latin America before I could speak Spanish and after speaking Spanish, and it's so much better when you can speak the language. So really cool. You're gonna love it. Today I'm going to basically teach you how to introduce yourself to people. As part of that, we'll learn our greetings and the culture behind greetings. I'm sure you've seen, you know, people are a little bit more kissy. They do the kisses on the cheek as opposed to the hugs that we typically do. We'll talk about cognates, pronunciation related to the vowels, numbers up to 10, and then vocab that most people can use at school and in a typical work setting. Here's my contact, Reed. I don't know if you can take a screenshot of this, but I always invite my students to make sure that you have my contact information should you need to contact me between classes. If you're going to be late to class, please let me know. If you can't make it, try to let me know as soon as possible so we can make other arrangements. And then I always like building out kind of my professional network on Facebook and LinkedIn as well, too. So feel free to add me to those social media channels if you use them.
Okay. Great.
Were you able to get that?
Yep.
Nice. Bueno, yo soy de Estados Unidos. That means I'm from the United States. But viví en España, Argentina, Chile, y Ecuador también. That means I've lived in all of those countries as well. Viajé a Cuba, a la República Dominicana, conozco Mexico, Colombia, Uruguay, y Bolivia. So those are all the countries that I've traveled to as well. ¿Y tú? ¿De dónde eres? So where are you from? Here you're going to say soy de, followed by wherever you're from.
Soy de Nuevo York.
Muy bien. Okay. Qué bueno. And you already mentioned it. Viajaste a Mexico y a Costa Rica. Have you been to any other Spanish-speaking countries?
Does California count?
Yeah.
Mexico, Costa Rica, but I mean, very frequently.
Technically, the United States is a Spanish. There are more Spanish speakers in the United States than in Spain. So technically, the United States is considered a Spanish-speaking country.
Soy de is what you said, right?
Soy de, and that's like saying I am from. Soy de. Bien, soy maestro de español desde el 2005 y el fundador de The Language School. I've been teaching Spanish since 2005, and I'm currently the founder of The Language School. Before estudié, I studied international business, Spanish, and marketing in college. ¿Y tú? ¿A qué te dedicas? What do you do for work, Reed? You're the owner of Ink Monster?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. So to say that, you would say, I can write it for you here.
And just so you know, like, one thing that helps me is seeing the words, like seeing how they're spelled. When I hear somebody talking, especially with an accent or talking fast, it's hard for me to understand, you know, the words, right? So like,
Sure.
write down soy de or soy dueno.
And that little N with a little squiggle on top, that means that you have to pronounce it like NY. Soy dueño.
Ñeño. Soy dueño.
Yes.
Soy dueño de Ink Monster.
Mm-hmm. You could also say something like soy emprendedor. And that's like saying I'm an entrepreneur.
Emprendedor.
Soy emprendedor.
Emprendedor.
Mm-hmm. Because like when you're hanging out down in Costa Rica, you know, no offense to you, but probably not a lot of people know what Ink Monster is, right? So, you know, you might want to say soy emprendedor. And people, oh, you're an entrepreneur. Cool.
Cool. Emprendedor. Emprendedor.
Muy bien.
Emprendedor. Okay.
Get it?
Yeah.
Oh, where did my mouse go?
Now, can I ask you this also? Should I be recording this session to go back and see what you're typing, or is there like a note section, or do I just have to write everything down?
Like if I write little notes up on the board here like this, you can just write it down. By the way, I do record all of my classes, so I am recording this.
Okay.
So if you ever need the
that you're typing, there's no like transcript where I can go back and see this.
I don't know how that works since I'm writing it like is on the whiteboard. Like I know if I chat it to you, there will be a transcript to it, but I don't know how that works for the whiteboard.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of an easy way for me to go back because repetition is, you know, I never get anything the first dozen times. I can repeat it a million times.
Well, we'll talk about this a little more at the end of the class, but I do give you plenty of activities to practice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of practice activities.
Awesome. But I'm not worried.
Okay, cool. Bien, aquí me gusta means I like. So when I'm not working, me gusta tocar la guitarra y los tambores. Me gusta viajar, me gusta ir al gimnasio, me gusta leer y me gusta ver películas. Algo interesante, something interesting about myself. Yo bailaba con un grupo profesional de salsa. So I used to dance with a professional salsa group. There's a picture of us performing at the Boulder Theater. That was like back in 2008. So I love everything to do with music and dance and things like that. Y a ti, ¿qué te gusta? What do you like, Reed? ¿Qué te gusta?
Me gusta viajar. Did I say that right? Viajar.
Muy bien.
Y gimnasio.
Gimnasio. The G there is pronounced like an H.
Gimnasio. Me gusta gimnasio. Y is E end? E.
Muy bien.
Y snowboarding.
Qué bueno.
Y skydiving.
Okay, excelente.
How do you say also?
También.
También surfing.
Muy bien. ¿Por qué estudiar español? Why study Spanish? There are over 20 countries in the world that speak Spanish, and they're typically pretty fun. Like you've been to Mexico and Costa Rica. They're all a little bit different, but all pretty fun. But even more importantly, I think, is that Denver's a bilingual city. Over 30% of the population speaks Spanish right here in Denver. So it will only help you here locally as well.
And I plan on moving to San Diego, which I believe is very similar.
I would probably even say San Diego is even more so because it's, it's right there on the border. So San Diego is probably closer to like 50% or maybe even more. So yeah, nice. Well, I like to use a holistic approach to teach Spanish. What that means is Spanish originally comes from Spain, from Europe, and then spread throughout the Americas. And it changes a little bit from one country to another. I don't know if you've noticed any differences from like Costa Rica to Mexico. I think Costa Rica has a fairly neutral dialect, a neutral accent, whereas Mexico has a pretty strong, like you can hear a Mexican and like know that's a Mexican, if that makes sense. So I like to kind of have more of an open program where I like to teach a little bit of all the differences that you might encounter in the Spanish speaking world. And these are conversation classes, so just, talk as much as possible. You have to talk. It's okay to make mistakes. I want you to just have fun with it, feel comfortable, and, ask all the questions you have as well. So with that said, let's jump into the kind of lesson part of the lesson. Hola means hello. And this is what I was asking you on the test before we started. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? And so to say I am, you want to say estoy bien. Vamos a practicar. Hola, Reed, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, bien.
Estoy bien.
Estoy bien.
Okay, muy bien. So when it comes to greeting people, culturally, it can be a little bit different. And culture is one of those things, it's not that it's better or worse, it's just different. Here in the United States, we're a pretty huggy culture. We like to hug people when we see our friends and family. In most Spanish-speaking countries, when you see friends and family, it'll be done with a little besito between men and women and women and women. And then in some countries, the men actually kiss each other on the cheek as well. In more formal situations, you'll see handshakes. So like thinking about business meetings and stuff like that. And it can change a little bit from one country to another. Costa Rica is not my strong point. I've never been there. Unfortunately, I really want to go. So I don't know have you noticed any observations about how people say hi to each other in Costa Rica? Is it done
same, I mean, I'm used to kissy face with women, East Coasters do it. Everyone kisses each other on the cheek when they meet. Everywhere I've been overseas, people kiss each other. It's very European.
Yeah.
Americas. So I'm pretty used to that. I didn't see anything with men kissing men.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I was just in Oaxaca, Puerto Escondido, and men were kissing each other, but they were from like all over Mexico, Central America, Brazil. They were from all over the world for this event.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it can happen. It's just something to be aware of when you're out traveling, right? Bien, vamos a practicar la pronunciación con las vocales. So the Spanish pronunciation is actually fairly simple. You've basically got 5 sounds. To put that in perspective, our letter A can produce something like 10 different unique sounds. In Spanish, it's typically just going to be pronounced as A. So all of these, repeat after me. A.
A.
E.
E.
I.
I.
O.
O.
U.
U.
A, E, I, O, U.
A, E, I, O, U.
A.
A.
Nada.
Nada.
Mapa.
Nothing.
Hasta.
Hasta.
Papa.
Papa.
Papá.
Papa.
Mamá.
Mama.
Muy bien. Naturally, the second to last syllable is going to get accentuated when you're speaking Spanish, like emphasized, unless it has an accent mark on it, like that little sideways slash. So if we look at, we've got 2 words here, papa and then papa. Do you hear the difference between those 2?
Yes.
Yep. So one of them means potato and one of them means dad. So I always joke with my students, you don't want to call your dad a potato. So the accent marks do matter. Okay, repite. A.
Yeah, okay. Me.
S.
S.
Bebé.
Bebe? Is it inflection? Is that really what it is? Like bebe? Like a higher note?
Yeah, it's not a higher note. It's just a shift in the emphasis, right? It's not.
Say it again for me. You say it.
So bebé.
Bebe.
Bebe.
Bebe. Bebe.
Which is also another word. Bebe means to drink, and bebe that we have here is baby. So It's just a shift from the emphasized syllable. Este, tele, leche.
Milk.
Y, muy bien. Y.
Y.
Fin, civil, tímido, italiano, Biblia, difícil, o, loco, poco, como, ocho, poco, todo, tú, clue, anuncio,
That would be clue, not like this B is a silent B almost.
it's there, it's very subtle though. Clue.
Gotcha. Like clue.
Anuncio.
Mucho.
Música. Cultura.
Cultura.
Muy bien. All right, so here we have a simple way to introduce ourselves to each other. And basically what we're saying here is, hi, my name's David. What's your name? It's nice to meet you, etc. Okay? Vamos a practicar. Hola, me llamo David. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Reed.
Mucho gusto.
And
you're going to say igualmente.
Igualmente.
Ahí está, muy bien.
What does that mean? Igualmente.
Igualmente is saying likewise. So when you say mucho gusto, meaning nice to meet you, you respond igualmente.
Igualmente. Mucho gusto. Igualmente.
Yeah. Entonces, 3 very common questions in this order. We've got where are you from, where do you live, and then where do you work? Okay. Vamos a practicar. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Nuevo York.
¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en, vives is...
where do you live?
Vivo en Denver.
¿Y dónde trabajas?
Trabajo en Ink Monster.
Muy bien. Perfecto, you got it. Bien, ¿qué te gusta? What do you like? So here we've got 4 different categories here. You can like things like comida, food. And those are pretty straightforward. Bebidas, drinks. So you probably know la cerveza, y el vino. I know you know el tequila. If you go to
I know all the bebidas.
Yeah. All right. Deportes are sports. So the first one is el fútbol. That actually means soccer. And then our version of football is called el fútbol americano. El baloncesto would be basketball. And then el béisbol sounds just like it. Actividades, so different types of activities would be estudiar, to study. So you could say, me gusta estudiar español. Cocinar means to cook. Bailar, my favorite, to dance. And then esquiar, to go skiing. Read, ¿qué te gusta?
¿Qué te gusta? I'm just going to repeat the question just to help me like understand if I hear it. ¿Qué te gusta? Me gusta. Let's see. La comida Chinese, la comida italiana.
More of an O, comida.
Oh, la comida.
Muy bien.
La comida, bailar.
Me gusta bailar.
Me gusta. What did I say?
You said la comida bailar.
Oh. Me gusta. Me gusta bailar. Me gusta cerveza. Me gusta la comida italiana.
Excelente. I can modify this question a little bit with the word hacer.
How do you say skydiving?
Oh,
How do you say skydiving?
That's a good question. Skydiving. Gosh, I haven't had much of an occasion to go skydiving. I did something called parapente, which was
Jump is
Jump would be saltar. Saltar.
That's what they say. Salta. Saltos. Saltos.
Yeah.
Me gusta saltos.
Okay, maybe, yeah. Me gusta
That's
saltos.
what I've heard them say when I've been jumping with them. Yeah.
I did when I was in Colombia, a very popular thing to do is paragliding. So I did that where you run and jump off of a cliff.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty fun. That was called parapente. But if that's what they say, saltos. Those are saltos.
Yeah.
Now we can modify this a little bit by adding the word hacer to the question, which means to do. So I could say, ¿qué te gusta hacer? And now you specifically have to answer with some type of activity. Read, ¿qué te gusta hacer?
What do you like to do? ¿Qué te gusta? It's hacer.
Hacer.
Hacer. Me gusta saltos. Me gusta gimnasio. Is it and
So for
yeah,
that, for that, you would have to specifically say, me gusta ir al gimnasio.
In al gimnasio.
I'm going to write it for you. So you can say, me gusta ir al gimnasio.
Me gusta ir al gimnasio. Is it like an H? Gimnasio? Or?
Gimnasio.
Gimnasio. Me gusta ir al gimnasio. Me gusta la comida mexicana y italiana.
There we go. That's how you say skydiving. Me gusta hacer paracaidismo.
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 Me gusta. So it'd be me gusta hacer
paracaidismo.
Paracaidismo. Hacer paracaidismo.
Muy bien.
Me gusta hacer paracaidismo.
There you go. That's a good one. Nice. Okay, sorry, this thing, anytime I write on the screen, it takes my mouse away. There we go. Okay, so let's go over some useful questions for the Spanish classroom here. So, ¿puedo hacer una pregunta? Any idea what that means?
No.
So it means, can I ask a question? Repeat after me. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Muy bien, you got it. Nice. What about cómo se dice student?
How do you say student?
Nice. You got it. Vamos a practicar. So I want you to ask me these questions here.
¿Cómo se dice computer?
So start with the one in green, right? So, ¿puedo hacer una pregunta?
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice computer?
Se dice computadora.
Computadora. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta? ¿Cómo se dice office?
Se dice oficina.
And what did you say before you said oficina?
Se dice.
Dice.
So just like in the question, like how do you say? We just take away the word how, and you're saying you say.
You say oficina.
Exacto.
Do you want me to keep repeating the question? ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Up to you. You don't have to. Just, you know, a time or two is good to practice. Yeah.
Hacer una pregunta.
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice paper?
Papel.
Se dice papel. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice employee?
Se dice empleado.
Empleado. ¿Cómo se dice director?
Se dice director.
Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
And again, tell me that means tell me the meaning of that again. I'm sorry.
The green one, ¿puedo hacer una pregunta?
Yeah,
That's saying, can I ask a question?
ask you a question. Puedo hacer una pregunta? Puedo hacer una pregunta? ¿Cómo se dice student?
Se dice estudiante.
Se dice estudiante. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice conference room?
Se dice salón de conferencia.
Salón de conferencia. 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 Salón de conferencia. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice classroom?
Se dice Zoom. No, se dice salón de clase.
Se dice salón de clase.
Muy bien. Nice job. Okay, the third use of a question I'm going to teach you is ¿qué significa estudiante? So this is the reverse of como se dice. You say como se dice when you want to go like from English to Spanish. When you want to understand what a word means, you would say ¿qué significa? And that's like saying, what does estudiante mean? Okay, ¿qué significa? Vamos a practicar. So ask me these questions here.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Qué significa computadora?
Significa computer.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Qué significa oficina?
Oficina.
Oficina.
Oficina significa office.
¿Qué significa oficina? ¿Qué significa papel?
Paper.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Qué significa empleado?
Empleado significa employee.
¿Qué significa director?
Director. Director significa director.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Qué significa estudiante?
Estudiante significa student.
Estudiante. ¿Qué significa salón de conferencia?
Salón de conferencia significa conference room.
¿Qué significa salón de clase?
Significa classroom.
Gracias.
Muy bien, de nada. Entonces, hemos aprendido 3 preguntas muy útiles. ¿Qué significa puedo hacer una pregunta?
Can I ask you a question?
¿Cómo se dice student?
How do you say student?
¿Y qué significa estudiante?
What does estudiante mean? Like,
Exacto, muy bien.
gosh.
Nailed it, nice job. All right, let's talk about Cognados. So languages kind of live and evolve and change over time. We have something called a cognate, a cognado, which is where one language has been influenced from another language. So the word bank in English was actually born from the word banque, which was a French word. That word was born from banco, which was a Spanish word, and banco was born from banca, which was the original, like our modern day commerce system, banking system, was originally started in Italy. And so that's where that word comes from. So the really cool thing about Spanish and English is that we have a lot of these words cognates, because Spanish is something like 90% based in Latin, and English is like 30 or 40% influenced by Latin. So there's like this, 20, 30, maybe 40% overlap between the languages, where basically the pronunciation changes, but on paper, you can look at these words and be like, oh, I know what that means. Por ejemplo, read, ¿qué significa actor? What does that mean? ¿Qué significa actor?
What does actor mean?
Yeah, well, so it means actor, right? But I'm not saying actor, I'm saying actor, which is the Spanish word.
So what does actor mean?
Yeah, and it means actor, right?
Actor. What does actor mean? Actor.
¿Qué significa chocolate?
¿Qué significa chocolate? Chocolate.
¿Qué significa director?
¿Qué significa director? Director.
¿Qué significa final?
¿Qué significa final? Final?
¿Qué significa hotel?
¿Qué significa hotel? No, like it's kind of silent H, like hotel.
Silent H, exactly. Hotel.
¿Qué significa hotel? Hotel.
¿Qué significa mango?
¿Qué significa mango? Mango.
¿Qué significa normal?
¿Qué significa normal? Normal.
¿Qué significa pasta?
¿Qué significa pasta? Pasta.
¿Qué significa simple?
¿Qué significa simple? Simple.
Muy bien, you got it. So our languages aren't so different, you know, there's no doubt differences, right? And you have to learn new vocab and stuff like that. But like, I can only imagine trying to learn a language like Russian or Chinese, where we don't even share the same alphabet, you know, how much harder that would be. Where with Spanish, we've got the 5 vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U. We've got the same numerical system, the same alphabet system, you know, and then we've got this like 30–40% overlap of words that are almost identical. So you're going to have to work for it, but it'll be easier than you think it is, hopefully, right? Ok, muy bien. Números. Repite. 0.
0.
1.
1.
2.
2.
3.
3.
4.
4.
5.
5.
6.
6.
7.
7.
8.
8.
9.
9.
10.
Yes.
Muy bien. ¿De quién es el número? So whose number is this? I'm going to read you one of these numbers and I want you to tell me whose number it is. ¿De quién es el número? 911.
911.
720-251-6652.
720-251. 6652.
So ¿de quién es? Whose number is it?
Oh, the language school.
Yeah, muy bien. ¿De quién es el número 303-218-6242?
Walmart.
303-576-0065.
Cognados.
Muy bien. Read, ¿cuál es tu número de teléfono?
What is your telephone number?
Yes.
¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? I still have to use my, let's see, I still have to use my fingers to count.
That's of course, yeah, no worries. This is lesson number 1.
9, 7, 0, 3, 7, 6, 4, 3, 7, 5.
Muy bien. So the number that I got was 970-376-4375.
Yeah.
Nice job. Muy bien.
Gracias.
All right. Now I want you to write down my number. Apunta mi número. Do you have a pen and paper there?
I do.
Bien. Mi número de teléfono es 720-257-8539.
720-257-8539.
Muy bien. Nice job. Nice job. Read, ¿cuánto cuesta un papel?
Papel, paper. ¿Cuánto cuesta un? How much is paper?
Yeah, how much does a piece of paper cost?
¿Cuánto cuesta?
How much does it cost?
Un centavo.
Muy bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta un bolígrafo?
¿Cuánto cuesta un bolígrafo? A bolígrafo is pen?
Sí.
Bolígrafo. I never heard that before. It's weird. Bolígrafo. ¿Cuánto cuesta un bolígrafo? Dólar. Un dólar.
¿Y cuánto cuesta un lápiz?
Sorry, go ahead. ¿Cuánto cuesta un lápiz? Lápiz. Pencil. ¿Cuánto cuesta un lápiz? 5 centavos. Centavos.
Sí.
Change cents. 5 centavos. 5 cents. Okay.
¿Cuánto cuesta un marcador?
¿Cuánto cuesta un marcador? Marcador. And I can't roll my R's, by the way. It's impossible for me. Do you have a way to teach somebody that? Because it's
Not yet. We'll get to it, but yeah, hopefully.
so hard.
And just so you know, the R doesn't always roll. So here it doesn't roll. It's marcador. It's not a rolling.
¿Cuánto cuesta un marcador? $2.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de papel?
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de papel? Paquete. A pad of paper. Paquete? What's, yeah?
Yeah, packet or
Okay,
pack.
packet. Okay. ¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete o paquete de papel? $5.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de lápices?
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de lápices?
Lápices. So it's on that accent mark. You have to shift the emphasis to
Lápices. $6.
Muy bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de bolígrafos?
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de bolígrafos? $6.
Close. $7.
$7.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de marcadores?
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de marcadores? $8.
¿Y cuánto cuesta un libro de español?
¿Cuánto cuesta un libro de español? $9.
¿Cuánto cuesta una pizarra?
¿Cuánto cuesta una pizarra? $10.
Muy bien. Reed,
Gracias.
vamos a aprender español para la escuela y el trabajo para matar 2 pájaros de un tiro. So, little Spanish that we can typically use in both situations, at work and at school.
Work is cool.
So the first word is cosas, meaning things. Repeat after me. Cosas.
Cosas.
Computadora.
Computadora.
Impresora.
Impresora.
Muy bien.
Gracias.
Televisión.
Televisión.
Proyector.
Proyector.
Marcador.
Marcador.
Papel.
Papel.
Muy bien.
Marcador.
Ahora tenemos lugares. Lugares means places.
Okay.
Lugares.
Lugares.
Muy bien. Salón de conferencia.
Salón de conferencia.
Salón de clase.
Salón de clase. Okay.
Oficina,
Oficina.
escuela.
Voila.
All right, now we've got personas.
Personas.
Personas means people. Repite, profesora.
Profesora.
Estudiante.
Estudiante.
Muy bien. Director.
Director.
Empleado.
Empleado.
Okay. So, you were asking earlier about practice, right? Like, what should I be doing, right? Do I need to write all these words down? No, you don't have to write all these words down. We're going to take a look. Have you ever used Quizlet before?
Yeah, I do. I actually study for my skydiving licenses that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. So I love Quizlet. Boy, do I wish this was around back when I was learning how to speak Spanish.
I was just saying the other day, like, I forget who I was talking to, but I love flashcards.
Yeah.
Like,
so Reed, the biggest challenge is like trying to figure out what to do with your time between classes in a certain way, right? Languages are overwhelming. You've been, I don't know how old you are, I'm guessing
45.
40, something like that.
45.
45, there you go. Well, you're doing good. So yeah, you're 45. You're starting from zero, right? You're starting a new language from zero, and you kind of have to be honest with yourself about that. And it's a humbling experience when, you know, you take for granted your ability to communicate. And there's nothing like learning a new language and having that ability to communicate completely taken away from you. And when you go about it, when you think about it, a language is a very complex communication system that we have developed in your situation over the past 45 years. And now you're starting Spanish from day number 1, right? Part of my job as someone that has been through this process myself and now is in a position to teach what I think is a slightly better way of learning how to speak a language, which is through conversation, is also, I think, to try and help break this down for my students to make it easier for them, to make it a really simple process. And, you know, 80% of your time outside of class time should just be dedicated to learning these new words that we've just learned, right? We just learned numbers up to 10. You're saying how you still have to count them out on your fingers, right? The only way to get over that is to study these flashcards a little bit more. You got to learn all this new vocab, you know, all these things that we were talking about, you know, wine, beer, well, you know those, but what was it? Paracaidismo, right? Skydiving, right? Me gusta hacer paracaidismo. So you have to break those down into what I think are the most simplistic component of a language, which are words, you know, make it all about learning new words. The more words you learn, the more Spanish you'll be able to speak. So I've created these lists of vocabulary on Quizlet that I share with my students. So you know, I've taken, I think, the hard part away from it. So you can just hop on here and study these sets. But let me tell you how to actually do it to get the best results. So you want to come in and click full screen here on the set of flashcards and go into options and change it. So initially you're answering with English. And there's a scientific reason behind this. When we're learning our first language as small children, do you have kids?
No.
No kids? I have, I was telling you.
Just employees.
Okay, well, those are kind of like, so I've seen my son learn how to speak over these past couple of years and kind of see this actually happen, but he initially could understand a whole lot more than he could speak. And still, that's true to this day. You're almost always able to understand just a little bit more than you can what's called produce. So the idea here is we bring this to our second language and we want to develop comprehension first. And that's why you want to start by trying to say the Spanish words in English as you're studying it. It's more natural this way. It will be 100 times easier and therefore that much faster. So try to tell me what these mean in English. Papel.
Paper.
You got it, right? Another thing I like about Quizlet is this volume key up here.
Cosas.
Cosas.
It pronounces it for you in perfect Spanish, so it can help you with your pronunciation too. So what does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay, good. So we flip it over, it means things.
Cosas.
Cosas, things. Now, if you don't get it right, let's click on the star. If you've used Quizlet, then you probably know that means that we have to keep practicing it, right? Lápiz.
Lápiz. We went over this one already. Pencil, all right, okay. Lápiz. Lápiz. Pizzata, pizza.
You would think. Whiteboard.
Ah, I thought it was.
Pizza's even easier. Pizza is pizza.
Pizzata, whiteboard.
Computadora.
Computadora, computer. Computadora.
Marcador.
Marcador, marker.
Televisión.
Televisión, television.
Libro.
Libro, book.
Bolígrafo.
Bolígrafo is pen.
Got it. Nice. Proyector.
Proyector, projector.
Impresora.
Impresora, impresora. I don't know.
Printer.
Impresora, impresora, printer.
You work for Ink Monster. You guys do this a lot, right? So think about like the impression, right? Printing is you're just leaving an impression on something. So impresora. That's the Latin word for you. All right, so let's click back here and study those four starred terms. Cosas.
Cosas.
Things.
Uh,
Cosas. Things.
things.
It's all good. Sometimes you have to hit these a few times before you get it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm a slow learner, man. Like,
all
I've had a lot of concussions in my day. Cosas, things.
It's all good. You'll get there. Don't worry. Lápiz.
Lápiz. Lápiz.
Pencil.
Lápiz, pencil.
Impresora.
Impresora, printer.
Yep. So there's one you didn't get the first time, right? But you just got it. So that's the magic of this. Lápiz.
Lápiz, pencil.
Cosas.
Things. Cosas, things.
Pizarra.
Pizarra is wait. It was shit. Tell me.
Whiteboard.
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 Pizarra. I have a whiteboard right in front of me. Pizarra. Pizarra. Whiteboard.
All right, so we'll start over. Now we want to switch this back so we're answering with Spanish. Might be a little bit harder, but that's all good. All right, so
Papel.
okay, so paper. Well, you said it, papel. Nice. Things.
Cosaras. Cosara. Cosas.
There you go. You got it. Cosas. Good. Cosas. Pencil.
Pizarra.
So pencil is going to be lápiz.
Lápiz.
Lápiz. Pizarra is one of the words, but it means whiteboard.
Whiteboard. Pizarra. Lápiz is white. Pizarra. Pizarra.
So whiteboard.
Pizarra.
You got it. Computer.
Computar.
Close. Computadora.
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 Computadora. Computadora.
Marker. Marcador.
Marcador. Marcador.
Television.
Television.
Book.
Libre.
Ah, close. Libro with an O. Libro. Pen.
I'm not seeing the words in my head.
Bolígrafo.
Bolígrafo.
Bolígrafo. Projector.
Proyector.
Printer.
I know we did this like 6 times already.
It's all good. Impresora.
Impresora, impression. Impresora.
Yep, just like an impression, right? All right, let's study these 6 terms again. Marker.
Marcador.
You got it. Pen. Bolígrafo.
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 Bolígrafo. Bolígrafo.
Pencil.
Show me.
Lápiz.
Lapis.
Lápiz. Book.
Libro.
Oops. You got that right. So I want to unstar it. Pen.
Bolígrafo. Is that right? Bolígrafo.
Yep, that was right. Pencil.
Lapis.
Computer.
I know it's close to computer. A computer. Show me.
Computadora.
Computadora. Computadora.
Computadora. Printer.
Impresara.
Very, very close. Impresora. Impresora.
Impresora.
Computer.
Impresora. Oh, sorry. Computadora.
You got
Computadora.
it. And now printer.
Impresora.
Nice, you got it. So I always like to do that little activity with my students just because that right there is learning Spanish. That's the most powerful thing you can do outside of class time with me. And it did, it doesn't take, we spent less than 10 minutes doing that right now. So
yeah, I enjoy it actually. Like I'll sit there for hours going over those 6 words.
Nice. Yeah, and honestly,
license right now on Quizlet.
I'm glad you said that. Another kind of best practice, because you said you'll do it for like hours. Don't do it for that long. It's weird to have a teacher tell you don't study that much. Study in like 10-minute increments. Get on there, bang it out for 10, maybe 20 minutes at a time, and then walk away from it. And it'll be more powerful than if you get on there and spend like an hour at a time.
Okay.
Just because your brain scientifically can only concentrate, honestly, for about 20 minutes at a time.
Okay.
So, nice. So we'll go back to our initial dialogue here. Hola, me llamo David. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Reed.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente.
¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Nuevo York.
¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Denver.
¿Dónde trabajas?
Trabajo en Ink Monster.
¿Qué te gusta?
Me gusta paradigmis.
Me gusta hacer paracaídas.
Me gusta hacer say it again.
Paracaídas.
Paracaídas. Can you spell that?
Yeah.
Ser.
Paracaídas.
Paracaídas. Me gusta hacer paracaídas.
Muy bien. ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono?
What is your telephone number? Do I have to say S? Telefono, número.
Mi número de teléfono. So like if
Es mi número.
you just change this part right here.
Es mi número de teléfono.
Don't say S, just say mi, because the S actually comes at the end. You reverse the order. So, mi número de teléfono es.
De teléfono es 9 7 nuevo 7 0 3 7 6 4 3 7 5.
You got it, my friend. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right. So that's how you introduce yourself to someone in Spanish. Obviously, it'll take some practice, right? You'll have to practice, yeah. But that'll make for a fun trip. Your next time you pop down to Mexico, being able to have that conversation with someone. After you meet somebody, despedidas, that's how you say goodbye. So if you want to say, for example, let's stay in touch, you might say, estamos en contacto.
Estamos en contacto.
And then you could reply to that by saying, me parece bien.
Me parece bien.
It's like saying, sounds good, right? Vamos a practicar. Estamos en contacto.
Estamos en contacto.
Well, you don't want to repeat that. You want to respond to it, right? So you're on the right. So.
Parece bien.
So let's try that again. Estamos en contacto.
Me parece bien.
Bien. And then I could say, hasta luego.
Nos vemos.
Perfecto. You got it. Nice job, Reed. Good. Good. Okay. So where do we go from here? The next steps to learning how to speak the Spanish language would be to memorize all the vocabulary. You just got bombarded with a whole bunch of vocabulary today, right? So now it's time to memorize it. What you would do is you would use this link, which I'll pop into the chat here for you. And you can join my Quizlet class, and that way you get all of the, all of the sets that I've already created for this level. So you don't have to do that kind of busy work. And what you want to do is, essentially start and just do exactly what we did in class today, where if I can bring my presentation up here, is you start by trying to understand the words, so go from Spanish to English, and then step 2 is you produce the words, where you go from English to Spanish, right? And we just did one set. There's like 5 or 10 other sets just for this first lesson that you can practice within there. And so for the next like 2 to 3 days, I would try and hit that for like 2 or 3 times a day. I know you said like you like to go to the gym in the morning. Is it the morning or the afternoon?
Yeah.
Kind of like when I study something, when I get really into studying something, I like to hit it first thing in the morning when I wake up. I like to hit it around lunchtime, and I like to hit it right before I go to bed. And that will just keep it stuck in your head if you do that. You know your schedule and your routine a little bit better than I do, so you have to find something that works for you, but that would be something that works for me. After you do that, we've got our own custom web application. This is what it looks like. I'm going to pop the link into the chat again here. But I want to make it I think it's very important. You want to spend the first few days just memorizing the vocab. Don't even try and open up our web app there, the language school, Learn Worlds, until you really feel like you've got a solid grasp on all this new vocab that we just learned today. Because in that app, you've got a lot of kind of activities, just essentially what we did in class today that you get to do.
You're saying the Quizlets, like get proficient with the Quizlet before I go into the language school exercises.
Yep. Because the language schools to give you more kind of that conversational practice, those exchange where like you'll be doing those questions and answers like what we did. But if you don't have the vocab memorized yet, it's just, you don't get as much out of it. You're having to go back and look up words and stop, and it takes forever. Whereas if you memorize the words first, not only can you start using them right away, but then you can just pop, you'll be able to answer questions there. So that's it. Now, if you prefer, because everybody's different, prior to the pandemic, when I used to meet in person with all of my students, I had a book that I wrote. This is a picture of it. It's available on Amazon, I think, for $30, $35, something like that. So if you prefer to buy the book, you can buy it, and then you'll have the physical copy of it. So I'll just go ahead and pop this into the chat too. The web app is free for my students to use, but the book is available for purchase. So totally up to you what you want to do about that. It's the same content. So yeah, step 1, understand new vocab. Step 2 is to start saying the new vocab in Spanish. And then step 3 is to practice with the lesson 1's activities in the language school app. And, I've been doing this a very long time. My students that follow this process and do really well. The people, everybody's different. Everybody has their own study habits. If there's something else that works for you, do that. But I do know that doing this just like this works really, really well. So that's it for the lesson today. What'd you think? Did you like this kind of?
That was really fun, and I enjoyed it. I'm trying to find, I can't get back to your screen. I clicked on all your links.
I closed it. I closed the presentation. You should just be seeing me right now, right? What's that?
I don't even see you anymore. I know you're there, obviously.
Oh, you might have lost the Zoom screen.
I did lose the Zoom screen.
What kind of computer are you on?
It's a Mac.
Do you know how to make all the windows pop out?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, if you hit that, you should be able to find me.
I know, I did that, which is weird. Oh, there it is. Cool. There you are.
Nice.
Cool.
So going forward, what do you want to do? I do private and group lessons. Private lessons, I think, are a little bit more efficient, and we can work them out around your schedule, and you can also get started right away. If you wanted to do group classes, we'd probably have to wait until May at this point, because I always start group classes the very first of the month.
The pricing and scheduling on, or the frequency of the private lessons?
Private lessons, 100% up to you. In terms of the schedule, I typically like to start with just once a week, just to have you get into the swing of it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn, your initial 3 months is so much time spent on learning vocabulary, that you have to kind of build up that base. And once you have that, then you can kind of start accelerating your studies a little bit. But I find that it's, I always want my students to have kind of a fun and enjoyable experience, especially initially before they start trying to intensify the studies. If you got a trip at the end of April to Costa Rica and you really just want to bang this stuff out, then, we can hit it 2 times a week, 3 times a week. Basically, you're in charge. But my recommendation is to start easy, take it easy initially, and then gradually accelerate, if that makes sense. I charge my standard rate $70 an hour for private lessons. I have a minimum time commitment of 5 hours for $350. And then if you buy 9 hours for $630, I give you the 10th hour for free. So basically 10 hours for $630. That's what most of my students do.
So that's basically 5 weeks and 10 weeks.
Basically, if you start off with once a week, yeah.
Okay. Great. So it's $63 an hour for the 10 package.
Yeah,